unbelievable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though. Yeah, being in this space, I know I gotta hold my hope down. Seeing what it takes, I gotta know that I can show how. Questioning myself if I believe it though. No longer question if I'm really a believer though. Now you should take into account that my account can build my belief. Take into account I must account for what I really think. Being in the space, I learn to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. This the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. This the only vibe to go. I do believe it, do you believe it? I said, are you a believer till the end? When your phones are low, can you believe in it again? No longer ever questioning yourself if you believe it though. You never questioning yourself if you believe it though. Now that's one thing about the future, you should know that you deserve it all. Landing on the moon, take a belief that's going murder call. Being in the space, I learn to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it, do you believe it? I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it, do you believe it? Made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though. Yeah, made up in my mind, it's believable. Saw it at the time, it's achievable. Now I got the drive, get the key to go. Got the key to go, if I believe it though.
Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Ian Bellina. Great to be here. How are you, Bill? How's it going?
Ian, hi. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm doing good.
Okay, good. Okay, hold on. We have seems we're having a technical issue here. Just give me 1 second. We're not able to see Bill. We kind of need that. Okay, sorry. But yeah, guys, hold on. We'll be right back.
Token Metrics is a...
Since the creation of the internet, every industry has been turned upside down. Amazon changed retail. Uber changed transportation. YouTube changed video forever. With the invention of crypto, money is next.
Okay. Apologies, guys. I'm just trying to... Bill, do you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, we can hear you, but we cannot see you. It's issues on my end. Okay, hold on. All right. Well, for those who have been following the news, okay, there we go. We got Bill. Now, let's make you full screen. All right, there we go. All right, back in action. So, Bill, how are you, man?
It's just
craziest week ever.
Look. Who's more ready for the apocalypse than people in crypto, right? I mean, we have trading account apocalypses now. It's just I don't know, it's a grocery store apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, what a crazy week. So on the last live stream, yes, we were kind of bearish, just based on how things were happening with the coronavirus, but nobody had any idea it would be this crazy, this chaotic. I mean, I think 10 years down the road, this will be one of those moments of history where all of us talk about this, even to our children.
Right. Assuming we live. Yes. So I mean, crypto went through its own version of the 1987 crash, which nobody remembers, right?
Yeah.
I was a freshman in college at the time. So basically, stocks have gone up and up and up. This wasn't necessarily the case in crypto. But then you just had this like huge 25 or 30% one day move. Now, equities has circuit breakers, crypto doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, so, that's one way to look at it. And I'm sure we'll go through the rest of it in crypto therapy, or we can jump into it whenever you like.
All right. Sounds good. So welcome everybody to Token Metrics Live. This is a weekly show every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And we cover cryptocurrency and the markets. So in today's show, we'll be talking about the recent news announced today. The Federal Reserve of America is cutting interest rates to almost zero. I believe it's between 0 and 0.25%. And then we'll also talk about the coronavirus and how that has really impacted the entire crypto market and capital markets. And we'll answer the question all of us are wondering, is crypto going to zero? Because we saw crypto tank 40% on Thursday. There was blood in the streets. Crypto or Bitcoin being a safe haven narrative seems to really be in question. And with everything really hitting the fritz, is crypto going to survive through these tough times, these turbulent times? So we have our expert on, Bill, who'll do technical analysis and also give us his expertise. So stay tuned. And then towards the end of the show, we'll answer your questions. So if you would like to ask a question, go to menti.com. That's MENTI.com, and use the code 996955. That's 996955. All right. So as usual, this is not any investment advice. We're just merely sharing our opinion. Definitely consult a legal and financial advisor before investing in cryptocurrency or investing at all. Investing is risky, and only invest what you're willing to lose. All right. So, and by the way, if you haven't yet joined, be sure to join tokenmetrics.com. This is our platform where we go through and rate cryptocurrencies. We have over 100 different cryptocurrencies on there using our expertise, analytics, and machine learning. And I think Token Metrics really stood the test of time because on Thursday, when Bitcoin dropped below 4,000, Token Metrics was the most bullish it's been on Bitcoin in a while. Bitcoin had a score of 99%. So our short-term ratings on Bitcoin and crypto in general, it was basically calling a very good buying opportunity. And Bitcoin bounced back over 40%. Lots of other cryptocurrencies bounced back over 50%. I think Tezos bounced back 90-something%. So the fact that our systems were able to call the bounce, short-term that is, helped our customers save money and also make some money on that opportunity. Now, obviously, nobody could really have predicted the coronavirus happening, but our models a few days prior to that were bearish and neutral from a trading perspective. So we think in times like this, it helps to have research. So because research can save you money. And the first rule of investing is not to lose money. So if you haven't yet already, I urge you to join and try Token Metrics 14-day free trial. And we also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So almost 45 days to try it out. Nothing to lose, especially in times like this. Okay, with that being said, let's hop into the show. So as mentioned, we'll also have crypto therapy and we'll show you our top 10 cryptocurrencies, or even if Token Metrics has any cryptocurrencies it's bullish on this week, because markets are turbulent. So we'll share with you our analysis. All right, Bill, can you give a quick intro on yourself to everybody?
Certainly. So I've been a technical analyst since the 90s. I specialize in highly volatile, chaotic situations.
Like this?
So, like this one, yeah. Like when no one knows what to say, I have something to say. I did it for Goldman for 12 years, Morgan Stanley before that. I worked for Charlie Shrem during the monster bear market, and then now I'm here with Ian.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. My name is Ian Bellina. I'm founder of Token Metrics. Also a partner at 100x Advisors, which is a blockchain investment and advisory company. I've been in crypto for over 3 years, full-time investing, mainly as an angel investor and now with 100x Advisors. Prior to that, worked 4 years at IBM in analytics, so I love data. And prior to that, worked as an IT consultant at Deloitte Consulting. All right, so first up, question of the day. What did you do when crypto dropped 40% on Thursday? Did you buy more? Did you buy proof of stake coins, expecting to store your money in something that can give you some returns? Did you buy gold and silver? Did you rage quit? Did you drink alcohol? Or did you buy shitcoins? So tell us what you did. Go to menti.com, MENTI.com, and use the code 996955. That's 996955. Bill, so what did you do when that happened?
Well, I think you had to buy something with the 4,000 handle, right? Or 5,000 handle. You have to take a shot, right? Because if you're not taking a shot at 5,000, then, then it's rage quit, right?
Right. Yeah.
Especially when people are panicking in an asset class like crypto that can be used to pay for things in an environment where everyone's just going to randomly print currencies, right? I mean, absolute money printing has started. Now, I also think crypto was hurt by this whole idea of New York City being quarantined, right? I mean, they're going to shut down Manhattan. Anybody who's seen that Batman movie where the Scarecrow gets his his scary mist loose, and they have to shut the bridges and the tunnels to keep the crazy people out, out or in. If you're running a crypto hedge fund out of Manhattan, you basically got to sell everything and go.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, I'll just kind of go through what happened with me. I wake up, look at my phone, it's just blowing off. Everything it's like Armageddon. And I see my Coinbase numbers on there. Everything was down 30 or 40%. And I just kind of froze thinking, is this real? Then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Trump he banned travel to Europe the night before. So people are reacting to this. And I was like, this is probably the worst day in crypto, because in my history, that was the worst day in crypto. And then I began hearing about DeFi crashing with MakerDAO having issues. Somebody was able to get over $4 million for nothing. I mean, quite frankly, I wish I had capital to deploy and just buy the dip, because really those are moments we live for. I mean, as investors, everybody's talking about, hey, we want to buy the dip. They wish Bitcoin or Ethereum can retrace to buy the dip. And my thought process was, I wish I had capital to buy more. But unfortunately, I didn't. But I mean, congrats to anybody who bought the dip short term, obviously, because we still think things can get worse before they get better. So don't want to say that we're in the steer and clear. But I think short term, it was definitely very profitable for people who bought the dip, because as professional investors or just even regular investors, you want to buy when everybody else is selling, because that's when you get the bargains. And Thursday was a bargain for people who were looking for bargains. All right, so let's see what our audience says. Our audience says, so most of them bought more. So congrats to that. Then runner up, people drank alcohol. And then other people just bought shitcoins. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. All right, so now let's go into really what's happening right now in the markets, right? So the Fed is out of ammo. So we're going to cover how they cut interest rates to zero, the global recession that we think is coming, and then does crypto even have a use case? Because Bitcoin and crypto and the whole safe asset narrative is really in question, because crypto and Bitcoin has been following, for the most part, the markets. So Bill, our expert, what's your take on this?
Okay, so let's start with the scarier news. Say you were a sovereign wealth fund, right? There's no incentive to hold crypto, theoretically, when you can hold something like gold or oil at liquidation prices. If you're talking about holding oil in the 20s and the 30s, you could store your money in that and not have to deal with the volatility of crypto. Okay, that's the bad news. The good news is that, the Fed is just going to continue to print money, right? They're just going to indiscriminately do it. Now, I don't understand how that's going to help if everybody has to stay home. And I don't understand how that's going to help. Last week we joked Bill's a doctor, right? That was a joke last week. Okay, folks, this week the joke is I'm not a doctor. We don't know what the coronavirus is. We can't test for it, which is really weird. Like, we launched a man to the moon in 1969 with a rocket that was 1/1000. The computers on that rocket were 1/1000th, below the power of your phone. And we can't test for a virus. It's too weird. It's just too much uncertainty. So what does it mean for crypto? Well, crypto can just get hammered, but the thing is, crypto can also come back quickly. And what we're looking for is the day where crypto decouples from stocks. So, for example, you might be looking at your screen right now and going, this is a little bit disappointing. Ethereum is at 124, and that's not good. Well, that might be true, but maybe it's better if crypto builds a base and is kind of scary and just sits here and everyone holds their breath. That would be constructive to me. Like if crypto was up 15%, I'd be rolling my eyes and going, oh my God, it's another bear market rally, right? You don't want to see these like 15% swings. You want to see like 2 and 3% swings and then have it build a base. Now, does crypto have a use case? Of course it does. It's an old Bugs Bunny cartoon with a guy named Finster, and basically Bugs Bunny is telling him, don't touch the dirty money, right? Cash is going to carry this thing, and alternative forms of payment are going to eventually become relevant. Now, do they become relevant after we go to zero? I don't know.
Right. Okay, let's kind of maybe take a step back, because a lot has happened. So maybe this kind of go through it step by step. So crypto crashed really just kind of based on everybody just looking for liquidity, just getting out of everything, whether Bitcoin, crypto, capital markets, which is something you did mention on the last live stream, right? That even funds and institutional investors are just probably going to sell everything. And
right. I mean, there was a rumor that they were going to shut down Manhattan. So every crypto hedge fund in Manhattan just was like, I'm selling and leaving.
Right. And then, so as mentioned, we thought that America would have to go on lockdown and shut down for a few weeks to maybe even a month. Now, we had no idea it would happen that fast, but it seems that's where really everything is heading. Now, how do you think this is going to impact the global economy? Because JP Morgan last night just said that they predict a recession is coming. Now, for those who might not know, a recession is when you have 2 consecutive quarters of declining growth, GDP, basically. Let me see if I can pull up the article here. So this is what Business Insider published. But I think everybody now can really see that, yes, all economies are going to be affected. So I did put up a poll on my Twitter the other day, and 80% of people think a recession is coming. Now, we had over 2,000 votes in 24 hours, so thank you to everybody who was able to partake in that. Now, how do you think crypto is affected by this, Bill? Just to kind of delve deeper on the recession, because we all see this really, it's coming. So what do we do as crypto investors? Is crypto going to die? Because a friend of mine was telling me kind of the same thing. He's pro crypto, but he's saying, man, if he actually called me, and he rarely calls me. Like, that's how bad of a week it was. He called me and he's like, Ian, I'm pro crypto, but when everybody is in a recession, nobody's going to want to touch a risky asset class. Why is crypto going to survive? For me, I'm still pro crypto, but kind of playing devil's advocate, I think we also should plan for the worst, because we haven't really seen what happens with Bitcoin or crypto in a recession. As we mentioned last week, I think Bitcoin and crypto, the main things it still has going in terms of the narratives is a protection against political risk and currency risk, inflation. Now, I don't think it's a protection against all kinds of risk. So what's your take on that, Bill?
Okay, so let's start with this. Could Bitcoin be so volatile that it goes to like 2,000? Sure, that could happen, right? Is crypto going to die? No, but something might eclipse Bitcoin, right? The proof of stake universe, like, may surface, and the guys at Ethereum headquarters and Ethereum 2.0 better hurry up and figure out what they're doing, right? Because, double-digit Ethereum was pretty scary. So I think crypto has a huge use case because crypto may become like a video game for people. People are going to stay home. I mean, people are buying toilet paper and televisions. They're going to stay home, right? And they're not going to invest in equities because, like in 2008, people didn't stay home. Life continued. The Fed printed money, and it was bad. But I mean, this is like, we're talking about total shutdown.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, if you're talking about, and the way I say it is, it's a supply chain disruption, right? Either goods don't move between places or people don't move between places. And our world is not equipped. The human race is not equipped for supply chain disruption. You are used to, oh, wait, I'm out of groceries. Oh, I go to the grocery store and there are groceries at the store. I'm not standing in line waiting for a National Guard or UN relief truck.
Right.
Okay. So people may be more preoccupied with, the staples of life. Crypto could be hugely volatile, right? I mean, crypto is going to reorganize, right? Like, we're going to find out if Bitcoin is really what everyone says it is. So I think crypto is going to, the word is reorganize. Like, what is the future of digital payment methods? It's got to exist because the whole fiat system is just going to break. I mean, they're just going to print money indiscriminately and it's not going to work.
All right. So speaking of that, so rates were cut to close to zero today. This seems like the day everybody has been waiting for in crypto because everybody keeps talking about quantitative easing, how the Fed keeps on issuing and printing more money. And now it seems like we're almost close to getting towards negative interest rates. So how should people play this?
Well, the Fed's not going to go negative because Europe went negative and Japan went negative, and it's just basically been an embarrassment, right? So they're not going to go negative. The Fed's just going to print money, expand its balance sheet. They'll forgive student loan debt, but eventually inflation is going to kick in, right? In other words, a loaf of bread, the price of a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk is going up, period. So if we're looking for a currency that has the power to keep pace with that, I mean, there's a lot of deflationary forces out there, right? But there also could be inflationary, implications if, everybody has to go out and purchase certain goods, right? Because of the supply chain disruption. This is what no one is talking about inflation at the consumer level. Like, no. Everyone just thinks because it's a business recession that you can't have what they call stagflation. In an economics book, you can look it up.
What's
right?
stagflation?
Well, stagflation is a recession with negative growth with inflation. Kind of like Venezuela light. Right? So, what are businesses going to do to get people out? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to say, oh, we're taking Bitcoin. Or they're going to try to do something to get somebody excited. Right? So I just think with all this happening, yes, you can have ridiculous price movements. We've had them. Right? No one really wants to buy crypto at the institutional level, we're back to where we were in 2018, where they've just emptied everything out. Right. So,
now what comes to mind right now is, obviously we aren't really economists per se, but I think if inflation starts to hit, which seems like we're heading towards that way, I think that's when Bitcoin and crypto will shine. So,
I think crypto has a use case. The question is, can people stomach the volatility?
Right.
I mean, if we got a new low, if there's a new low, or there's a move to like 1,500 or something ridiculous, I don't want to see that, but you're going to have people panic. You're going to have like hodlers panicking below last year's lows, if that even happens.
Man, if Bitcoin goes below 3,000 or even 1,000, I mean, that's the moment everybody has been waiting for to buy. I mean, I know myself, if Bitcoin goes underneath 1,000, I'm going to back up as many trucks as I can and try to scoop up as much Bitcoin as I can. All right.
Well, I would caution against that. I mean, we had an internal conversation about what would happen with Ether at 80, and I'd be selling my house to buy it. One guy who I totally respect said that. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, if Ether is at 80, you're going to be sandbagging the front of your house. This was before the coronavirus, right? So, it's like we're basically there. I think if Bitcoin is triple digits, then something has replaced Bitcoin as the thing you want to own.
Okay. I mean, so I'll preface that by saying, obviously, I don't mean going all into Bitcoin, obviously diversify into lots of other assets and cryptocurrencies. But yeah, I mean, I think long-term Bitcoin will survive, but as mentioned, I don't think Bitcoin will be king down the road, like long-term, like 20, 30, 10 years from now. I think Ethereum will eventually displace Bitcoin. So basically we'll have a replacement of Bitcoin with Ethereum as being the top currency out there. But curious to see what other people think. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Okay, let's move on here to cryptotherapy. So we're going to do technical analysis on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins. So Bill, let me know when you're ready.
All right, I'm doing the screen share now, so I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay, so, if we're looking at Bitcoin right now, okay, basically down here in 2019, you had the huge correction of the big rally from 2017. And then this, 2019, 2020, you had a rally. And then net, you had this colossal puke that retraced 3/4 of last year's kind of moon from 3,000 to 13,000. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, it would be good if we could see Bitcoin holding above 5,700. If Bitcoin does not hold above 5,700, then, you can't say, okay, yeah, it's all right. It's not going to crash again. Mm-hmm. If you do see Bitcoin above 5,700, that could be very encouraging for the whole space. Okay. So net, markets go up, right? And then they can sometimes retrace, like here's the rally, right? And then they retrace 3/4 of that rally, right? They wash everyone out. Everyone's bearish. No one owns it. The sky is falling. And so then
basically textbook. It's textbook.
It could be. I mean, this to me looks textbook. I mean, I want to see it above 5,700, but the fact that it's sitting here scaring everybody, everyone's like, oh my God, it's not above 5,700. It's going to go to zero. That's the way it was after 87. Like after 87, there was a double bottom in 87. They rallied it. It occurred in October. It rallied after the Fed cut rates. And there was a test of the lows in December, which was just horrific. And then everybody gave up, and then it did nothing but go up for 30 years. Okay, so we have to see if that repeats itself in crypto. It can, and the fact that crypto is not moving normally today, I consider that to be a good thing. Okay. So ETH, just a total pain in the ass. I'm sorry. It is. Okay. So here's what Ether's been doing. These two purple lines, they're parallel. Okay. I just drew this today. So back in June of last year, you had this euphoric attempt to sort of break out of this pattern. It didn't exist yet, but you had a false breakout here, right? And then you might have had the equivalent false breakdown here. Okay. So it's like first we go above the pattern and then we go back inside, and then we go below the pattern and then we go back inside. And really it's a 125 to 300 range. Now, the fact that this is all upward sloping, I've read all kinds of stuff that says it's terrible, but Ethereum's traveling in a box. Occasionally it leaves the box and we hope it goes back inside the box by going above 125. And if it doesn't, it's a shit coin and, something else is going to take its place. But I'm really more for, up here at 325, everybody was like, going crazy. And then down here, everybody is capitulating, right? If you think Ethereum is the future, you got to be able to buy it at 125. If you can't buy it at 125, then something else is the future. All right.
Well said, I think.
Right. And then, if you go to Litecoin, right, just for laughs.
LTC.
Yeah. Okay. So we like these diagonal lines. Our audience likes the multicolored look. Okay. If you look at Litecoin, it hit right here. Right there. Right on one of those diagonal lines. And these diagonal lines have been meaningful a couple of different times, like here, right here. Okay. So, and of course, there was the breakout that occurred right there. So, do I need to run out and go buy Litecoin at 36? I don't think you have to run out and do it, but you got to remember Litecoin's fast Bitcoin. So somebody might start taking Litecoin for coffee. That's what, Litecoin was like designed for, was to be like for small transactions, kind of like in a Bitcoinish kind of way with a price that people could get their head wrapped around. All right. And then the final thing I want to talk about is the dollar, right? So we've been tracking the dollar. We've been looking at this. This is the dollar index. So first the dollar collapsed, right? And then the dollar came all the way back. And I don't know what the dollar is going to do next, but the dollar does not appear to be able to break this resistance point. Okay, this is resistance from May of 2017. Okay, so I know people like the dollar when the world is ending. People flock into the dollar. It's textbook legacy. It's textbook period, right? If the world's, if there's a problem, you're going to buy the world's reserve currency. Now, if the world's reserve currency cannot break out on this news and the Fed just starts printing it, well, then this gives other currencies the opportunity to shine. Okay? It does. It's just like, everyone's like, oh, crypto has no use case. Okay, maybe. I can't argue that. Okay, but are you going to really seriously buy the euro? Like, not that we don't like our friends in Europe, but like they have negative rates, right? So first everybody was like, okay, the coronavirus in the United States, buy the euro. And then everybody gets up here and goes, wait, what? Buy the euro? What are you talking about? You're buying the euro and Bitcoin's down 40%. Oh, please stop. So I can't be bitter men's club about this. It is what it is. You have to listen to Mr. Market. But, if Ethereum can hold its ground at 125 and Bitcoin could somehow get itself above 5,700, Bitcoin or crypto as a video game that you play when you stay home for 90 days or as a future method of payment for things, right? Because inflation occurs and then people look for investments that make sense. There's a lot of young people who are going to get stuck at home. I mean, how much Nintendo can you play? seriously. So people are going to be looking for investments and ways to pay for things in a currency that's appreciating in value, right? You know, the risk to that view is that stocks go down 10% every day and everything goes down with it.
Okay, I mean, so in that case, hypothetically, if stocks go down 10% every day and we go, so basically all markets really kind of go towards not zero, but on a gradual decline. You think eventually people will kind of hit that capitulation in stocks and look to crypto into an asset class that's not being affected by inflation and everything else?
Or well, people will, like, after stocks reprice, like the first thing we wrote for Token Metrics this year is that equities had to like reprice themselves for reality. Now, we did think it was like, you know, the 12 Monkeys movie virus apocalypse, but you know, stocks needed to be repriced for reality. So once that occurs, then people may look for other forms of investment, other ways to pay for things. So crypto is useful in that way.
All right. Well said. Well said. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. So this is being posted on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, everywhere. So, but we're taking comments mainly from YouTube as well. But if you're on any other platform, those comments will also end up getting towards us. All right. So just to kind of get off topic for a second. So I find it very interesting. So as you guys know, we don't really like to get too political, but I can't help but notice what's happened recently with the coronavirus. Because now, as mentioned, everybody now really predicts a global recession is coming. Now, in America, I don't believe any sitting president, besides maybe one, has lost an election campaign with a great economy. Now, because of that, lots of people thought that Trump would win again because the economy was great. But now that the economy is basically on the fritz, with the recession coming, Bill, I mean, how do you think this affects the presidential campaigns?
Okay, well, it's pretty simple, right? I mean, like, if you took Trump's IQ and Biden's IQ and added it together, you would probably get, you know, the IQ of like a normal person. Right? So neither one of these guys are geniuses. Trump is unfortunately in a situation where, you know, our response to the virus, people are going to blame him, right? Yeah. Now, like on an extreme level, if the coronavirus is a biological weapon that somehow got loose in China, they can never tell the truth about that. So we'll never know if Trump was too stupid to have the CDC have test kits, or whether there was some sort of like, you know, like the captain of the Titanic, right? We can just sail out and without enough lifeboats. Yeah, so Trump could be captain of the Titanic part 2. Or there might have been some reason why, you know, like how did the Prime Minister of Canada's wife get the coronavirus, right? And did they go to some briefing with some official? You know, that's the part that I found really strange. So, but they're going to blame Trump. So, I mean, it's, you know, and Trump's easy to blame because he can't talk his way out of this. Right. And God forbid, you know, you wake up one day. I think the reason people are just freaking out is because they're just assuming the government's not telling the truth.
Now, just to kind of jump in here, I think the world and America and the Dems, everybody's going to blame Trump. And Trump has really, his back is against the wall when it comes to the economy. Because even he knows if that crashes, it's unlikely he's going to win re-election. So I think he has his finger taped on the quantitative easing button with the feds, and they'll keep on printing more and more money. And I think they'll just keep on throwing money at this until they hope it goes away. What's your take on that opinion?
Right, folks, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember this, but Trump is running a wishbone offense, right? In an era of, you know, shotgun passing spread offenses, right? He's running plays from an antiquated playbook. It's not going to work, right? Just you're not going to be able to run option left or right every time. It's not going to work, right? You know, option left is tax cuts. Option right is QE.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work. And some presidents have been really good at talking during crises, right? Like Kennedy during the Cuban Missile Crisis was great, right? Franklin Delano Roosevelt, you know, during World War II with fireside chats. And of course, nobody was better than Winston Churchill, right? I mean, you want to like read up on how to talk to people during a crisis. It's Winston Churchill. He got on the tape his first day and said, I have nothing to offer you but blood, sweat, and tears. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump doesn't play that kind of a game. You know, this is not, you know, you're a basketball guy, right? I mean, you're asking a guy that, you know, like gets like 15 rebounds and 3 points a game and is good at defense to start shooting 3-pointers. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's outside of his wheelhouse, and whether you like him or you don't like him, you know, people are going to blame him. Now, is Joe Biden going to do a better job?
Nobody really knows.
I would say hell no. But the thing is, people have to like say or do something, right? The only thing I think that saves Trump is that the Democrats, like no one's going to go vote. Like everyone thinks by November, this is going to be over.
Wow. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the other thing that people don't get. Like Trump's base will get the coronavirus to go vote. Seriously. The 30% of the population that is hardcore Trump, they will
Still
vote.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Whether or not they turn out at the polls for Joe in November, who knows? I mean, you have to remember something. HIV started out in, you know, kind of like strange bathhouses in San Francisco with like 6 cases.
Mm-hmm.
And then a certain number of years later, it wound up killing 75 million people in Africa.
Yeah. HIV.
Okay.
Well, I mean, HIV technically began in monkeys in West Africa. So kind of like coronavirus jumped from bats, supposedly, to humans. HIV began in monkeys and jumped to humans. And then it's gone all over. But one thing I do find fascinating, though, you said that people might not go vote because they can't, because assuming it's still chaotic even then, this might be a catalyst to bring e-voting or even blockchain voting into the populace. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, yes, that would be a great idea. Okay. And I'm sure whoever gets that contract will do quite well. But the fact of the matter is, if we can't test for the coronavirus, we can't get the election system on blockchain. True. I mean, the Democrats tried to come up with an app that, you know, and the Russians just hacked it, or somebody hacked it just to prove a point. So I don't think we're going to blockchain. I mean, yeah, we should go to blockchain voting.
Yeah,
but we're not.
Great,
right?
Great perspective.
No, you know, so you know, this people think this is bad now. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys and girls, let us know what you think in the comments below. Let's take some questions from the audience. Okay. So we'll first start off with questions on the Tokenmetrics YouTube channel. Hey, Samir, how are you? Sofrace, Barry in the house. AZ Shopping, what's up? Menti code is 996955. Go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 996955 to submit your questions for the AMA at the end of the show. Hey, John White, how are you? Mr. Johnson, I think the flippening could happen to BTC and someone else will replace it at the top. Yes, we think that's definitely going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Not sure whether it's this year or next year, but we think it's definitely going to happen. Okay, and then... Sorry, I don't... next question here. What about Neo? CUDA? Okay, so we'll cover Neo maybe towards the end of the show. In this situation, there are only 2 possible winners, BTC and ETH. All right, thank you, Kryptonite, for that. He's saying the rest is garbage. All right, okay, so question from Reggie Vincent. So what is a defensive strategy recommended now that all asset classes are falling? Any thoughts on that, Bill? What's a good strategy for defense in this kind of crisis we're in?
Okay, so this is a good question. So I would say defense has a couple different parts. One, you have to hold physical fiat. Even though it's going to carry the virus, you just have to have physical fiat in the event that everybody goes to an ATM machine at once because credit cards get shut down. So you've got to hold physical fiat.
So like cash under a mattress type fiat?
Right.
Physical.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to have cash under a mattress as much as we're crypto guys. You've got to have a price in mind where you're going to say, okay, I'm committing resources to crypto at this level, right? And if it drops, right? If it's just ridiculous, you're going to say, I'm committing at this level. Okay. And then I think you're going to have to start sifting through equities to try to find something that will perform well in this environment. Maybe it's too late. Okay. I also think commodities now has a new meaning. Now, I know we joke about this stuff, but it's not a joke anymore. Beef jerky, ammo, milk, eggs. I mean, you're not going to go buy like a freezer, right? Like these consumer goods are going to be used. And here's another economics word, barter. You have to get ready for barter. Like I'll trade you beef jerky for toilet paper, right? This is like you're going to have to invest in this. Right. Or it's just barter, right? It's just like something else becomes money. Like the joke on the internet now, it's toilet paper, right? Now that's just ridiculous. You can't eat or defend yourself in a 90-day or 120-day quarantine with toilet paper, right? The National Guard will be handing that out. Okay. So diversification is, cash, a level where you're going to commit to crypto and just say, this is where I'm in. And if it goes to zero, that's it. There's got to be something in the stock market. And I think you got to have physical goods. You got to have stuff.
Right. Okay. I mean, to share my perspective, I think obviously these are just our opinions, not financial advice. I think in times like this, I think people should be aggressive but cautious, because obviously we're now in a bear market in equities. Crypto has been in a bear market, especially with altcoins, for the last few years. But looking at all the entire investing space, all capital markets, I think now is the time to really be greedy, right? I mean, the famous quote by Buffett: "Be greedy when others are fearful." And I think everybody now is fearful. So this is the time. If you've ever been waiting for a bargain, and whether it's in crypto or in stocks or anything, or even real estate, I think in the next few years or so, because I think a recession typically lasts 1 to 2 years or so. So I would say in the next 1 to 2 years, assuming everything plays out and we're heading towards really rough times, and if things do get chaotic with the coronavirus, everybody's going to be selling everything. So you could get the deals of a lifetime in the next few months to the next 1 to 2 years. So, but to take advantage of those deals, you have to have capital, whether cash or something else, ready to deploy for those opportunities, right? If somebody says, hey, you know what? All this is going to zero. I want to sell my BTC at $100, and that's a deal of a lifetime. You have to have the money to buy up as much as you can. But obviously, nobody can really call the bottom, and people are sometimes afraid of catching falling knives. So I think the general strategy is, as opposed to trying to predict where the bottom is to almost have a dollar cost average strategy. So don't buy everything at once, because things could go lower. So I think a good defensive strategy could be dollar cost averaging during the dips of a recession or bear market, and then this assumes that you believe there's intrinsic value in whatever you're buying, whether it's crypto, Bitcoin, whether it's stocks or something else, whatever you're buying, if you've done your research and you think it's valuable, so from a value investing perspective, you think it's going to bounce back, then I think it makes sense to buy the dips, but have a strategy around it. Don't just buy everything at once. Now, in terms of other asset classes, I definitely do think it makes sense to diversify. I know some people don't like to diversify, but unless you're a professional investor who knows what you're doing and has done extensive amount of research in one particular investment, I think the average person should definitely diversify. Now, whether that's gold or commodities or anything else, that's really out of my expertise. But I mean, gold has fared pretty well. Do you own any gold, Bill, or do you plan to buy any gold?
You know what? I'm not really a precious metals guy. I mean, in a real apocalyptic scenario, you know, central banks could do what they did in the Depression and, you know, just simply say, you know, we're shutting down the gold markets, and the central banks are taking everybody's gold at $5,000 an ounce.
Right.
They just, you know, if you read Jim Rickard's book, that's what he basically thinks is going to happen, right? You know, they're going to have to rearrange the fiat system. They're going to take everyone's gold and they're going to give you $5,000 an ounce for it. So is that bullish gold? Yes, that's super bullish gold, but you ain't paying it. If they won't take paper, they're not going to take metal at the grocery store. They're just not, right? They might take crypto.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but they're not taking precious metals. So precious metals has an investment case. Oil has an investment case at certain levels, but I don't know that they have a use case.
Yeah. Now thinking of it, I mean, if we kind of, this is just kind of exaggerating things a bit, but if we're going towards like Armageddon, I mean, I don't think we're going towards that. I think everything will just kind of blow over, but nobody knows when exactly it's going to blow over, whether it's a few months or 1 year. But worst case, so let's say I think stress test every kind of investment and holding you have, and look at all kinds of risks and see how it will impact those investments. So not just crypto, but everything. So let's say cash, right? So let's say you have fiat in banks. If banks get bank runs, or if, God forbid, the government goes in and takes some money from your bank account, are you protected from that, right? If what happened in Cyprus happens in America or Europe or some other countries in the developed world, are you able to stomach that? So, I mean, yes, here in America, we have the FDIC insurance, which says that $250K is insured. But what if that goes to, what if that's canceled? Right, so I think stress test everything you have. Don't have too much in one thing. As Bill said, I think maybe having some cash in the house. Some maybe if you have money in one bank account, maybe spread that over several different banks. So maybe if one goes under, or if,
right, just like a crypto exchange. I mean,
right.
The Fed does its stress tests assuming VIX is at 70. When the Fed was, like, you could Google this, when the Fed was doing all this like ceremonial stress testing, they would stress how will the banking system do with VIX at 70. VIX is a equity market volatility index, right?
Mm-hmm.
So VIX was 50 something before it came off. So, you know, if there's a problem with the banking system, then you're going to want to have some cash. You're not going to want to have to go to a bank branch or an ATM to get it. And then, you know, you're going to want to have crypto. You know, you're going to have, you know, what you're hodling, and then you're going to have a level in your mind that says, okay, at this level, I'm deploying capital.
Yeah. I mean, so I think some crypto, some fiat across different banks, maybe even some gold or metals. I mean, I personally haven't bought any, but I mean, I can definitely see why some people would buy gold bars. Cause
right. Actually, the guys I know who are buying it all along have been buying 1 ounce coins, just FYI. Because that's like the preferred unit, and they buy the coins out of Australia because it's like one of the best mints out there, and the tax structure, there's no taxes for buying and selling. US coins, FYI, they're made for durability, but they're not the purest gold out there. Now they may have a use because, you know, you may need to use them to pay for things, but just a little FYI on gold, and, you know, don't get talked into bars or 2-ounce coins or anything like that.
All right. Well, let us know what your strategy is in times like this. What's a good defensive strategy? Let us know in the comments down below. All right. How much more time do you have, Bill?
Well, we can take another question,
Another
and then
question?
I got to go.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's take one more question here. Let me see what people have to ask. And we're getting a ton of questions. So if you want to, I think now we have the feature to have super chats. So if anybody wants to do a super chat on YouTube, that can really help us sift through all the questions. Okay, so, where do you answer the question from Reg here? Somebody's saying they've seen Ether at $40. Okay, not sure where that is, but that's definitely a good price point in my opinion. Some people expect Ether to drop below $85 and $65. Best crypto bargain. So we'll go through and share our ratings towards the end of the show. Okay, Barry says RSR, which is Reserve, will usurp Maker as a stablecoin of choice. Okay, he's saying Reserve is going to replace Maker. Yes, so we'll cover our thoughts on the whole MakerDAO fiasco and other stablecoins as well. Reserve, RSR, towards the AMA. Okay, let's see here. Negative rates. Okay, I'm not really seeing many questions here. Okay, let's just go to the AMA. Let's go straight to the AMA. Actually, sorry. Before we go to the AMA, we have a second question of the day. What did you do last week when crypto tanked? Did you, one, buy more than 24 rolls of toilet paper? Did you, two, watch crypto all day? Did you sell legacy assets, stocks, golds, anything like that? Or did you ignore everything? Let us know. Menti.com. Use the code 996955. Okay, all right, here. Let me take one question here. Okay, so the first question we have, is this the bottom in BTC and alts now? I don't think it's the bottom. I don't think we can officially say that, but what's your take on this, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have Bitcoin above 5,700, right? A period. You know, I've got a big inflection point in some of my other work coming up, like in the next 4 or 5 days. But, you know, Bitcoin has to build a base. Crypto has to build a base the way it did before it took off in February of 2019, right? So, you know, you can't, you don't even know what's going to happen with stocks, right? I mean, what happens if the Fed prints all this money and stocks just go, who cares? And everyone just panics, right? So, you know, we can't, you have to just look at levels. This is why we're saying, look at the levels and look at your plan and says, if Bitcoin goes to this point, that's my personal bottom. Like, where is the personal bottom for you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, so, and I think trying to predict the bottom isn't really a good strategy because nobody knows the bottom.
Right. But bottom fishing is an expensive sport.
Yeah, very expensive. I mean, probability is, doesn't matter how smart you are, probability is you can't predict the bottom. And by the time we all know it's the bottom, it's too late to really go in and buy. Over. Right. So I think as opposed to trying to predict the bottom, just, as Bill said, just kind of know what price points you're ready to deploy capital and buy. Right. So I think kind of dollar cost averaging over a particular period or over a particular price points that you have in target as it kind of dips below. So you kind of want to, as opposed to predicting the exact price, you almost want to kind of grab it almost in a cup and handle fashion, if that makes sense, right? So you kind of, you're basically buying it in a U-shaped fashion, right? Because people think that it's going to happen like as a V, where it goes down like, and bounces back up. But I think a good strategy is to kind of gradually buy via a smooth line, if that makes sense. All right. Well, thank you, Bill. It was great having you. Hopefully next week things are better, but who knows? I mean, I think we do think they could get worse before they get better. I mean, because Italy has really gone chaotic. The entire country's on lockdown. And America, unfortunately, is on that same trajectory. So, I mean, I know I've been here locked up in the house, but to me, the self-quarantine isn't really that big of a deal because I work from home anyway. So I've been at home since October, so not really affecting much. But stay safe, everybody out there. Stay safe, Bill. And any last words?
Ian, thanks for having me on the show. It's crypto_noble on Twitter. Pay me a visit.
Definitely Ian, check out Bill.
We'll see you next week.
All right, take care, Bill. Take care. Oh man.
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
Oh man, guys. Crazy times we're in. Unbelievable. But I mean, this is really where our fortitude gets tested. Because everybody talks about, hey, we want to buy the dip. Oh man, I wish Bitcoin or crypto would retrace so I can buy the dip. Then it comes back 40%. It retraces back at you 100 miles an hour, and you're like, oh wow, I don't want to touch it. It's a falling knife. So I think all of us should definitely have level heads when we're investing. And this is where doing your research matters a lot. This is right. This is really the essence of value investing. If you do the fundamental research and you say, okay, you know what? I fundamentally believe in this long term. So when you do the research and you believe in something fundamentally for the long term, these volatile dips, this volatility doesn't really question you, right? It's almost like believing in a religion, right? So imagine you're a Christian, Muslim, Jewish, doesn't matter, right? But if you've read the Bible, the Quran, what's the book of anyway, whatever book you read, right? That's doing the research. Once you believe, you may get tested by sinners every single day, but your faith remains strong. So when it comes to investing, it's kind of the same process. You have to do your research. You have to read the Bible or whatever, right? So with Bitcoin, maybe it's reading the white paper and doing your due diligence. Once you do that, you have faith to persevere, because when Bitcoin dropped like that, if you have done your research, you said, have the fundamentals really changed? Nothing has changed. It's just going down with everything else. If anything, as a smart investor, you would know, okay, you know what? This is now even more undervalued than before. And because people like to say that markets are efficient, but that's not really true. I mean, and there is lots of academic literature on this showing that markets they appear efficient, but they aren't really efficient, especially in crypto. Because crypto, I mean, you guys know, if you go onto most exchanges, the volume is fake. So it's hard to have an efficient market when you have so much fake volume out there. And then you also have liquidations on BitMEX and other exchanges like that, where people are margin trading and having margin calls happen. So ask yourself this, right? Has something fundamentally changed with Bitcoin from now versus a week ago, a few weeks ago? Not much. I mean, it's the same. The only thing that's changed is the market psychology. So the market psychology has changed, but the fundamentals have not changed. So when something like that happens, you say, okay, because if markets are efficient, then why have they dropped 40% in one day? So either the price they had before was wrong, or the price they have now is wrong. So either way, it doesn't look good. So either way, it tells you that whatever price they had before or after wasn't efficient. It just tells you that markets are chaotic and they have mood swings, right? And that's really the investor sentiment. So if anything, those are the times when you really want to buy. Because, I mean, as you guys know, in the last live stream, I talked about, I just finished the book, The Most Important Thing by Howard Marks, who's a billionaire investor. Very good investor. Probably one of the best books I've read out there. I highly recommend you check it out. The Most Important Thing by Howard Marks. And I just finished his second book, Mastering the Cycle, and he talks about market cycles. And if you're doing value investing, that means you're looking to invest several years out. You're not just looking for a swing trade. You're looking to invest 2 to 3 years. I would say 3 years or longer is really is the ideal time for the value investor. You're looking to invest 3 years or longer, so that's your investment time frame. You're willing to deploy capital, invest capital, and not look at it for 3 years. If that's the mindset you have to look at the intrinsic value of whatever you're investing in. And if you've done that, you say, okay, you know what? This is valuable. If the price has changed over 40%, that means I can get this at a better deal now. This is a bargain. This is a discount. Because I shared here on my Twitter. Let me see if I can pull this up here, guys. On my Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter, by the way, I definitely recommend you follow me at Diary of a Made Man. So this is what I have here on my Twitter, right? So this is really the phases of a business cycle. But the same thing can really be said about investing in markets. So we go from prosperity. So we have expansion where everything is on the up and up. And then we hit the peak. And then we now start declining and going towards a recession. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Yeah, there we go. Right, so now we're really on the decline when it comes to stocks and equities and other markets. And then we end up going towards the depression when people think that, so the joke is recession is when somebody loses a job. Then depression is when you lose a job, I believe, right? So then we hit down here, the trough, and then we end up recovering and back to prosperity, back to good times. So if you want to be the best investor in the world, you have to buy here. You have to have the fortitude, the faith to buy here. And this is when everybody is selling. So meaning that you have to fundamentally go against the grain. You have to be a contrarian investor, meaning that if 8 out of 10 people are selling, you have to be the guy there who's buying, the guy or girl who's buying. And you have to be willing to go against the grain. So what does that really look like? That's what happened on Thursday. That's when people are selling 40%. That's what it looks like. So that's when you get the best deals. And that's really the time to buy. But you can only have the fortitude and the strength to buy at times like this, or when things are coming down, when you've done your research. Because if you haven't done your research at all, when everybody else is selling, you're also selling as well, right? That's what makes you turn to a swing trader, a day trader, right? For this, we're talking long-term investing, right? So that fundamentally speaking, this is when you get the best deals. And now, as we shared earlier, most people think we're going into a global recession. JP Morgan covered the same thing. So I think we're going towards that as well. And when it comes to stocks or equities, recessions last 12 to 13 months. So we can expect, I think from summer, so JP Morgan says from June, July of this year, we'll start going into a recession. So we can anticipate until really fall of 2021 when the recession will probably end. So the question is, are you ready? Because if we're going into a global recession, meaning that not just in the US or in Europe, this is a global recession. Do you have the fortitude to buy when it looks like there is no hope, when it looks like it's the end of the world? Because just check this out. Norwegian Airlines has suspended 4,000 flights and has laid off over half of its staff. Then, let me see anything else here. Then SAS Airlines, which is Scandinavian Airlines, lays off 90% of its workforce, affecting 10,000 jobs. So the biggest industries being affected by this global recession are the travel industries, so airlines, hotels, railway anything to do with travel. And then the next one I will add are supply chain companies, especially those in China. So it's not going to happen overnight. And the email we emailed out on Thursday before the market kind of bounced back to our customers, we told them basically this, right? It's going to happen gradually. It's kind of like boiling a frog, right? For those who don't know, to boil a frog, you first put it in room temperature water, then you slowly raise the temperature. And by the time it realizes that that is being boiled, it's too late. So the same thing is going to happen, I think, when it comes to a recession. It happens gradually. And most companies won't report earnings until the next few quarters, right? So either end of this month, then the quarters after that, that's when you start to see the economy being impacted. And then also countries as well, when they report their GDP and we start to see no growth, right? We start to see negative growth. That's when the cascade, the waves will start to really be felt everywhere in the economy. So, I mean, it's tough times. I think the strategy, right, as I've just talked about here, let me go back to the image. If we're basically, because we're coming out of the longest bull market in history. This bull market, the average bull market, I believe, lasts about 6 years. This bull market has been around for 12 years or so, right? And I think you can sum this up by how high Tesla went. For each bull market, you always have that poster, right? That poster stock, that poster investment. And I think Tesla having an all-time high is definitely a poster child of the bubble. Well, the bubble is popped. That's why the Fed has cut interest rates, right? Is this the one? Okay, no, that's not it. But the bubble has popped. Interest rates are now almost zero. So we're now on the steady decline. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be gradual. So it's going to be a long time until we're back to prosperity. I mean, the only way, I think, maybe if the Fed and other economies just pump as much money into their economy by cutting interest rates, by printing quantitative easing, it's going to be very, very tough. But they could try to put this on life support by printing money like we've never seen before. I mean, the U.S. is currently doing it now with the Federal Reserve and just putting out over $1.5 trillion in the last few days to invest in the repo markets. So definitely tough times. But long story short, you have to have the fortitude and have done the research into whatever you're investing, whether it's crypto, whether it's gold or something else. You have to have the fortitude to know, okay, you know what? This is the best time I'm ever going to buy is around here. So I'm going to buy like there's no tomorrow, but I'm going to buy with a strategy. I'm going to dollar cost average down here, then dollar cost sell up here. That's really the secret to investing. Doesn't matter what market you're in. The secret is, because nobody can predict when this is going to happen, and nobody can predict the peak. You can't predict the peak and the trough with consistency. So what you can do is predict or analyze and have a good idea of which part of the cycle you're in, so that you know when it's time to start buying, and you know when it's time to start taking profits. Because you want to take profits up here, and you want to buy here, right? Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. But when you buy low, everybody else is selling. That's why you get the best deals of a lifetime. And when you're selling here, everybody else is buying. That's why you have liquidity. And that right there, folks, is the key to investing. Okay, all right. Let's Rock in the house. What's up, Rock? How's it going? Okay, all right. So let's go to Token Metrics, actually. Let me log in here. Okay, so now we're going to show the Token Metrics ratings for this week. So as mentioned, we now have two rating systems. We have short-term trader and long-term investor. Long-term investor is for somebody who's looking to invest 1 year and longer. Short-term trader is somebody who's looking to trade. All right, so let's start with the long-term trader ratings. So Bitcoin is now at 85%. So as we can see here, most of most of the top 10 are now in green. Bitcoin isn't really as highly rated as it was before the bounce back. So, because Bitcoin, we had Bitcoin, actually, sorry, this is long term. Long term, we're bullish on Bitcoin. But our top 10 cryptocurrencies at this point in time, if you had to buy, there would be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Matic Network, Binance, Cosmos, Eternity, Zcash, Blockstack, and Neo. Okay, so Neo has bounced back in the top 10. Very interesting, very interesting. I know we had some people who are Neo fans in the comments, so that must be good news for them. So what does this mean? So meaning if you're looking to invest 1 year out from this date and time, now obviously this can change a week later, but at this date and time, if you're looking at the investment horizon of 1 year or longer, these are the cryptocurrencies we're currently bullish on in this order: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Matic, Binance, Cosmos, Eternity, Zcash, Blockstack, and Neo. Now, if you're a trader, what are the cryptocurrencies that are good right now? Well, surprisingly, MakerDAO is number one for short-term traders. What does that mean? Well, for those who don't know, MakerDAO had an issue during it's now being called Black Thursday. So for those who don't know, when Ethereum price crashed, Maker basically almost stopped working. Well, not quite stopped working, but their auction wasn't functioning. People that were making bids on people's CDPs weren't able to, they basically took some time off. So some smart investor or opportunist, let's call him, was able to put in a bid for $0 and take $4 million worth of Ethereum, I believe. So Maker is now they've had this emergency vote on how to really solve this issue. I think they're looking to either print more Maker to compensate people that were at loss. But I know somebody else who also had an issue with other lending platforms, with Nexo and others, because the whole entire markets were chaotic. So DeFi really took a hit, in my opinion. This shows us how early we are when it comes to DeFi. There are definitely still glitches that have to be resolved. We had the flash loan hack, then the MakerDAO thing with DAI. So it's very tough to really predict what's going to happen. But Tokenmetrics is saying short term, meaning that in less than 30 days, it thinks that MakerDAO is going to bounce back. So it's very bullish on MakerDAO. On Maker. So very bullish on Maker. Second is Ethereum, then Holochain, Monero, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Zcoin, Matic Network, Misago, and Neo. So this is the order. Now, if I wanted to really find those that even had the higher chances for growth, I would find those with the highest difference between Tokenmetrics rank and market cap rank. So Maker market cap is 27, while for short term we have it as number one. So this really is very, very undervalued. Ethereum is good, but it's on the same level here. Holochain, Monero is a good one. Bitcoin, okay, Bitcoin might not bounce back as much, as basically saying. Then Zcoin definitely has potential. And then look at this, it's up 17% today. So looks like it was on the money with that one. Matic Network, 7%. So yeah, these are the current top 10 cryptocurrencies. Short term, let me go back to long term. Long term, once again, I think the ones that really have chance for growth, looking at the comparison. So Dash is third on Tokenmetrics rank, while its market cap is 21st. And then Matic Network, very, very undervalued. I mean, we think this should definitely not be 94. If anything, it should be number 4, looking at the rank here. So definitely a very good arbitrage here between Matic and Dash. And also Cosmos, very good arbitrage. Cosmos is still undervalued at a market cap of 25. Then we have Zcash and Blockstack. Blockstack, very, very undervalued. And those are I would say Blockstack, Eternity, Cosmos, Matic, and Dash, very, very undervalued on Cosmos. So let me know what you guys think. Are you holding any of those cryptocurrencies in your portfolio? Comment down below. and let's see what you're holding. Okay, so Antonio on the Token Metrics YouTube is saying, any low cap cryptocurrencies that you would recommend for those who really want to assume a great amount of risk? Well, I mean, I just answered the question right there. I mean, obviously not financial advice, but Matic Network has a market cap of 94th. Eternity is 95. Blackstack is 102. I mean, those are really the ones that outside the 90 market cap and higher, but we think long term are good. Okay, all right. Let us go to the AMA. Let me just take a look here and see how we're doing with the stream. Diego in the house. Diego's saying icon. Diego is icon for life. Okay, let me just quickly go through here. Okay, so we have a bunch of questions. So the stream now is going to be, the questions are now officially closed. That way we can go through them. We have 32 questions. Antonio says, that's not enough risk for me, my friend. Well, if that's not enough risk, then I don't know what is. Gambling? Because risk is good, but you have to be balanced with the risk. Okay, let me just quickly go through here as I go through and see what questions we have. Okay. Let's see. Okay, somebody's saying bullish on sovereign. Okay, so we're good. Okay. So this person is asking, will BTC go below 3K? Good question. I think that's more of a short-term question. So we're going to have to turn on the short-term grade here. If we go to the technical analysis, right now the TA is neutral on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin dipped, then it now is kind of recovering. If we go to the price predictions here, and let me zoom in to 2020. So obviously nobody could have predicted the black swan of coronavirus affecting everything. So this model for Bitcoin that we have has been somewhat lagging. So over here was high while the price was low. Then it corrected here, and Bitcoin kind of bumped up a little bit, and then boom, it came down crashing. So it came down crashing harder than the prediction thought. Now, so from now until April, it has Bitcoin around 7,500 or so. So I would say right now Bitcoin's 5,400. Honestly, it's tough to say. Because everything is chaotic. This huge sell-off here was tough for anybody to really predict. But I think, just speaking, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I think for now, we have some breathing room. But purely going based on the TA is neutral. So it's basically a wait and see approach. Until the TA says very bearish, I don't really think we can say it's going to go below 3,000. Right? The TA is saying neutral, so it's basically a wait and see approach. So I think we just have to wait and see. I don't think we can really say for sure that it's going down. Okay, all right. Next question. With China, more than likely. Hold on. So basically the question is, let me just rephrase this. So do you see Chinese altcoins like NEO mooning first or doing well first because the coronavirus over there has kind of peaked? Good question. I can't really comment on that because that's not. I don't really have that information. But looking at our analytics and data on Tokenmetrics, we can see long-term NEO is now in the top 10, which is positive. And short-term, if we go to the short-term trading, which is in less than, so long-term is more than 1 year out time horizon. Short-term is less than 30-day time horizon. And short-term NEO is in the top 10. So to answer your question, our system is bullish on NEO. Let me see if there's any other Chinese coin. What other Chinese coins are out there? Because we don't have one chain in here. One chain from a TA perspective is bearish. We didn't even bother finish grading that. NEO is very bullish from a TA perspective. So, and yeah, very, very bullish on NEO at the moment. Anybody know any other Chinese coins? Can't believe these are like actually in China, not just Asian coins. I'm trying to see. Okay, if we go here short term, I guess Huobi could be kind of Chinese. Yeah, Huobi is Chinese. Icon is Korean. Yeah, I mean, NEO is really it at the moment, right? So to answer your question, NEO, I mean, we don't think it's going to moon first per se, because it's not number one, right? We think all these other options, short term, have a better probability of recovering faster. And long term, these other ones are right now better investments, but NEO is still a pretty solid investment at this point in time. However, that's just our research and definitely not financial advice. Okay, let's see here. What's so exciting about Cosmos? Do you think it's going to disrupt Ethereum and the crypto space? What's a good entry level for a good bet to hodl? Good question. Good question. Okay, so long term, Cosmos is number 3. I mean, so fundamentals are good, technology is good. Right now, it's neutral entry point, but it's still better long term, 1 year out than any other cryptocurrency right now as of today. I mean, all I can say is read the Cosmo white paper. So I read this. I read the white paper a few weeks ago. I mean, it's well done. So for those who don't know, Cosmos is really building an internet of blockchains. They're connecting other blockchains. So kind of like what Icon and OneChain were looking to do, even what Polkadot has been trying to do, but they have more traction at the moment. More developers are using their code, right? From their consensus mechanism to what they're doing. I mean, Cosmos was one of the few cryptocurrencies, or Atom, their cryptocurrency, that launched, and within the same day, or within a few days, was listed on every single major exchange. From Binance to Huobi to OKX, even Coinbase has Cosmos, I believe. So I highly encourage you to go and read the white paper so that you understand the fundamentals of Cosmos. Excuse me. I should have some water. But I mean, so to just kind of give you a quick summary here. So Cosmos is a decentralized network of independent parallel blockchains, each powered by a BFT consensus. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let me see if I can find something here. So it's the first public interoperability blockchain. Right? So it's an ecosystem of blockchains that interoperate with each other. So basically, it's an internet of blockchains. Okay, then it says Binance Chain is probably the most significant project using Cosmos. So Binance is using Cosmos. The Binance blockchain, Binance, the biggest exchange in the world, is really a user of, right? They're using Tendermint. Then other projects include Loom, Kava, and some others I've never really heard of. But I think the main thing about Cosmos is their traction, their adoption. I mean, Icon, I know Diego's watching. Icon is also a good project, but in my opinion, I think Cosmos, I mean, based on our research, is a much better blockchain for that particular use case. But you can have lots of other smaller subset use cases that other protocols can win. But I mean, Cosmos, I think, is very exciting because of that. So, I mean, I highly recommend you read their white paper to get a better understanding, or join tokenmetrics.com, 14-day free trial, and read all the report and analysis we have. Now, you mentioned what is a good entry. So, without really giving a particular price, all I can say is from a trading perspective, let's go to short term here. Trading, it's neutral, right? So if you're looking for just a good entry, ideally when this is very bullish, right? And then price predictions right now aren't really going to be accurate because, I mean, there's so much other forces outside the market that you can't really predict, right? Oh, wow. So the price prediction for this thinks it's going to keep on going down. Okay, so maybe this could be a buying opportunity. But right now, it seems to be bouncing back up. So maybe better to wait, right? So based off of this, based on the predictions saying this could possibly go down lower, and based on the TI saying this is neutral, for a short-term investor, it might not really be the best time for a short-term trade. However, if you're looking to just trade, okay, yeah, so that's why Cosmos is not in the short-term ratings at all, right? So that does make sense from a logic perspective. However, long-term, meaning if you're looking to invest 1 year, 2, 3 years out, ideally I would say 3 years, Cosmos is a great investment. Not financial advice, but in our opinion, it's a very, very good project. Let me know, are you anybody here holding Cosmos? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay. All right, Ian, with the crash this week and Maker crashing from 500 to 250, what do you think the future of DeFi is? Good question. I think it shows us how early we are in DeFi. But if anything, I think this was great. This was needed because the DeFi sentiment was getting too positive, too optimistic. Everybody was drinking the Kool-Aid, talking about how DeFi is over $1 billion. I mean, myself as well. I mean, not to single anybody out, but I think this was the correction DeFi needed, because we've seen the issues with the flash hack with BZX and other platforms, and then what happened with Maker and DAI, and I think everything had to be repriced. Things had to come back down to earth before they can take off, right? The rocket ship had to come back down to earth, refuel, and then take off again. So if anything, this was much needed. Now, we are still bullish on DeFi. However, besides we'll call them smart contract developmental issues, the elephant in the room that I've tweeted about when it comes to DeFi is that the compliance, when it comes to a regulatory perspective, I mean, I don't care what people say about crypto and DeFi. We need regulation in the space. I mean, because look at what happened. Somebody was able to get a $4 million worth of Ether for $0. And he's going to get away with it because we don't want any regulation or intervention. I mean, everybody talks about, let's have a free market and all that. But as soon as stuff hits the fan, people are looking for somebody to call and ask for them for their money back. Okay, so I think we have to take all of that with a grain of salt. I'm still very bullish on DeFi. If anything, now was a very good time for the entire community to reevaluate and bounce back even stronger, because Maker ended up having an emergency vote. I didn't read all the details after the vote, but I think they made some drastic changes to how they do everything, and hopefully they gave solutions on how they'll fix it. But if we pull up Maker here on Token Metrics, so from a long-term perspective, Maker is 21 on the Token Metrics rank versus a market cap of 28. So I mean, the value you're getting, right? This is a difference of 7. So we still think it's undervalued. Not quite the best out there, but still undervalued. But I mean, the fundamentals, the technology, and the TA is very, very bullish, which is why if we go to the short term, meaning in less than 30 days, we think Maker is going to bounce back. All right, so if we pull up the technical analysis here. Okay, let me go into the short term here. Very, very bullish. So looking at this here, I mean, we think this was really the buying opportunity. Short term, right? For short term swing traders, right? Because people sold, this was a fire sale. So if you bought here, we think that the probability is you could make a very good amount of money based on that trade. Now, obviously, things could be wrong. Nothing is perfect, right? Especially with coronavirus and other forces at play that nobody can predict for. But we think Maker is going to bounce back. So going back to your question, I mean, I think the future of DeFi is great, but people have to really figure out. I mean, the fact that, just think about this. You can go onto an exchange, you can go borrow money on Compound, on Maker, go there and borrow DAI. Go onto an exchange like DYDX, manipulate the market with no KYC AML. I mean, just think, I mean, replace whoever is doing that with, let's say, Al-Qaeda, all right? Just to kind of show you how important this is. Imagine if Al-Qaeda got their Bitcoin or Ether, went on to DAI, borrowed a bunch of money from somebody else, put that on Compound or DYDX, and just margin traded on 50x leverage with no KYC AML. Do you think the FBI is going to be cool with that? Do you think any government is going to be cool with that? Because that defeats the entire purpose of why they've been fighting terrorism and all these other bad actors on the blacklist that they have and they share across. I mean, why are they doing FATFA, right? Why are they forcing exchanges to share the KYC with each other? I mean, if people could just circumnavigate that. I mean, yes, I know it's hard to shut down, but even these DeFi projects are still centralized in a way. I mean, Compound has been centralized because when I checked out their platform, all these products, for the most part, the non-developers access them using websites that can be shut down. And I mean, nobody's going to use, besides developers, nobody's going to use these platforms via smart contract. I mean, that's not going to scale and go mainstream. If we're talking about reaching the mainstream audience, they access these platforms via a centralized manner. Yes, they can shut them down. I mean, because they've done that with Ether Delta and others can pop up. But after a while, people will get tired of having to switch different websites. So I think until DeFi figures out that KYC AML is going to be tough. But regardless, though, I'm still bullish on DeFi. And I think what happened in the last week was needed. It was mispriced. That's why the fire sale happened. And that was really a good opportunity to learn more about how DeFi can improve. Also maybe buy the dip. But long term, still bullish on DeFi. But if I had to pick projects, very few projects that have tokens that are investable would be worthy of putting money in, right? And I think DeFi is definitely one of those projects. Okay. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Okay, let's go to the next question. Oh, wow. Okay. So, yes, I did hear about this. So, did you hear about the sovereign news? What are your thoughts? Can it still be successful? Yes. So, let me see if I can pull up the news here. Because not everybody might not know what we're talking about. Sovereign. Let me find it here. Just give me. Pulling up their site here. So, Sovereign basically is out of money. I mean, which came as a shock to everybody. Yeah, here we go. So the status of the Sovereign Foundation. So basically, just to sum up here, the Sovereign Foundation is moving to a volunteer staff, but continues to operate. Right? Their network is operational. They're saying, let's see here. Okay, sorry guys, hold on. Seems okay. Let me just close my Zoom here. Okay, so just to kind of recap, so they were looking to launch a Reg A Plus token offering, security token with the SEC, but they're claiming that their offering will take $1 to $2 million to file, and registration will be $1 to $2 million. And they say, given the current market conditions, they don't think they'll be able to do this in 2020. So they're moving the entire team. They're saying to any extent possible, a few of us will remain on board on a volunteer basis to assist as we can. I mean, so basically the token is getting killed. And it's going to be volunteer, and they're going to make it kind of open source or whatever. I mean, I don't really know what to think about this. I mean, I think it's definitely a bump. I'm not sure whether it's going to kill the entire project, because honestly, I have to go back and reread I have to go back and reread the governance and see how all this would work with their token. Now we do have the project rated on Token Metrics. Let me see if I can pull it up here. This has been available to our customers. Okay, I mean, so technology-wise, the tech on Sovereign is solid. I mean, Paresh has gone through and read the technology, and he thinks it's solid as you can get. Right, fundamentals not so good, especially now with the news of them running out of money and going to be purely volunteer based. It's going to be tough. Let me see if I can find. You mentioned something about no investor wanting to invest. Okay, so it says the network is operational. Stewards are operating validator nodes, and transactions are being validated and added to the ledger. Transaction endorsers are writing credential definitions. Okay, so they say it can function in a decentralized manner still, as expected. So, I mean, if it really can still function as they claim, I'd have to go back with our team and reread everything to see how this would really affect it. So I can't really comment immediately on this. But if anything, I mean, if they're able to launch a token, that's the main thing. If they're able to launch a token and the token trades on exchanges, then it could really be undervalued. Right? So going back to Token Metrics, technology-wise, we think the tech is good. Fundamentals not so good. But overall, I mean, compared to other projects, we think it's pretty good. But this, if anything, I would say a wait and see approach is best. So, I mean, I would not touch this OTC at all. I would not touch it until it starts trading for a few months. I would say 2 to 3 months of price action on exchanges with liquidity. So to answer your question, can it be successful? Yes, if the token gets listed on an exchange with liquidity, and it proves over 3 months or so that it can function in a decentralized manner without having to have the sovereign foundation at the helm of it. If that happens, then we're in business. But if that doesn't happen, or rather until that happens, definitely not something that I think is really worth putting capital at risk, right? Because there's so many factors at play. I mean, the crypto space is already in chaos with coronavirus. But now to add extra chaos with them now fully decentralizing the project and not really being able to do much, I think a wait and see approach is the best route at this point in time. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, let me take some questions from all the other chats here. Let's see here. Okay, Christopher House, Tezos thoughts. Okay, well, if that's on the AMA, I'll take a look. Vince says this is crazy. Barry says all will be well with Sovereign. No need to worry. I know Barry has definitely been an early investor in Sovereign. Most of the team are volunteers. All of the Sovereign team except 10 members are early volunteers. Okay, that's good. Okay, how about DAI? Is it good to hodl it for long term? Well, DAI is a stablecoin. So I mean, during the crashes, stablecoins are good. And from our research, DAI is the best stablecoin out there. However, everything has risk, right? Because it's a stablecoin tied to the US dollar. So if the US dollar also has issues, those could, like inflation or whatever, all that affects DAI. But I mean, out of the stablecoins out there, it's definitely good. I think having one stablecoin. So one thing that's really powerful when it comes to DeFi is stablecoin lending. So lots of the platforms out there allow you to take your DAI and lend them out and get paid 8%, up to 8%, sometimes even more annually. So that's definitely something I think that's worth looking into. So if you want to do stablecoin lending, DAI is one of the best stablecoins for that. Okay, let's see here. WRDX is a decentralized exchange released soon. It is truly a cross-chain DEX. Check it out. Okay, I will. Todd says the US government and the bankers are the biggest terrorists and criminals on planet Earth. They don't want competition. All right, well, thank you for sharing that with us. Antonio says, I'm a big fan of DAGs. It is less redundant than traditional blockchains. Do you know of any upcoming DAG projects that you would recommend? At this point in time, not really. The DAGs we've looked at haven't really scored so well. Okay. People talking about the weekly candle about to close in 8 minutes, around 5,400, 5,900, 6,000. The depression was going to come anyway. The virus is an excuse. Yeah, I mean, the virus was definitely the catalyst. Dina says we've not had a free market for years. Ian, why are most of the teams are leaving Cosmos? I know the founder left. Are other people leaving as well? Is he taking everybody with him? Okay, that part I have not looked into much. But I mean, if the technology can function in a decentralized manner, then I think it's still good. I mean, if it can, ideally, if it can go towards the route Bitcoin has gone of becoming fully decentralized. Vincent says DeFi future is the future. Then he's saying Cosmo is a hot project. Have you been using Nexo? No, so I've not been using Nexo, but my friend has been using Nexo, and he didn't really have a good experience with it during the market crash. Let's just say Nexo screwed a lot of people. So the customer support must be on fire right now. Okay, back to the AMA. Okay, where do you answer the question about BTC? Okay, so what comes first? 10K BTC or 2.5K BTC? I mean, can't really answer that. Based on I think 10K BTC, just based on the prediction model, but is obviously not working as accurately right now because of things that are unpredictable. I would just go back and watch what Bill said earlier during the TA when he was doing technical analysis on Bitcoin. He said it has to hold 5,700, I believe was the number. So basically, if it goes below that, we can go down to like 3,000. But I mean, if anything, though, I anticipate things could get worse before they get better. So, I mean, it's tough to say. It's tough to say, honestly. Okay, so on Tokenmetrics, how does the team decide upon the various rating scores for each crypto from qualitative analysis? How do they quantify the numbers from news, etc.? So we don't have news numbers per se, but what we do have, right? So let's go to long term here, for example. So our team goes through. So looks like the scores just updated in real time since we last spoke. I see Blockstack went up. So our team goes through and does research, and we have a list of question sets that we go through and ask on each project, and then we go through and gather as much data as possible. Then we create a grading system based off of that, and then this is really the part where the AI comes in. Using machine learning, artificial intelligence, we run models. So each cryptocurrency, we run over 200,000 models a day. So over 20 million models a day, because we have more than 100 cryptocurrencies in the system. And we look at the winners, right? And the best performing model, the most accurate model is, or rather the model with the most accurate weights. So weights meaning it tells us how much each question should be worth. So if one question should be worth 5 points, and this other question should be worth 1 point, and this other question should be worth 9 points, all that is based on the model. So it's not really based on, well, actually, I would say for the short term, that's where the model factors in. Long term is more based on kind of our team's perspective, right? Because it's hard for a model to predict like 2 or 3 years out. So that it's based on really just taking an average score of the three. So if we go back here, for example, right? So looking at Ethereum, the long-term score is really an average of the three, while the short-term is us updating this every single day based on the machine learning models, right? So that's how all this is determined. So we gather as much data as possible, give it scores, then we test those scores to see how well they perform, and then we look to see if we can find better performing weights and scores, and whichever one wins is the one we use. So hopefully that makes sense. If you want to read more about this, the models we use genetic algorithms. So they model evolution, ironically in the same manner like the coronavirus evolves or viruses evolve, and just evolution in general, where each generation it's really survival of the fittest. So we take that same approach with models. So we run 100 models at a time, we get the winner, then we have that winner create 100 variations or 100 children based on that winner's genes. Then out of those 100 children, we take the best performing model and we keep doing the same thing 500 times in one day. So that's how we get to 200,000 models per cryptocurrency. And I mean, we think it's pretty fascinating. I mean, having this kind of research when it comes to investing, because in times like this, you have to have research. This is where money is made or lost. So you have to have that edge that helps you save money. So being able to look at a particular cryptocurrency, both short term and long term and say, okay, this is what we think is going to bounce back. For example, at this point in time, Maker, Ethereum, Halo, short term. And long term, which ones are the good investments? So now that we've spoken, so now Blockstack has moved up a lot. I think because Blockstack, the price might have dropped even more. So now I think the model thinks that it's even more undervalued. But I mean, having this level of research, we think is what's needed. And that's why we made the platform. So I highly encourage you to check out Tokenmetrics 14-day free trial. Use the coupon code CryptoFamily, one word, all caps, for 10% off on Tokenmetrics. And that's lifetime. Okay, next question. Just to say, I'm happy I got $87 Ethereum. Now it better moon, haha. Oh, I mean, that was definitely a good deal. Good deal, I think, for sure. I'm guessing you probably had buy orders set, or maybe you're just in a time zone where you are up and you can go and buy. But either way, I mean, that's good. That's definitely a good deal. Can you explain in grandma language what happened to MakerDAO and why this was really bad for DeFi? Yes. Let me see. So we did send this out via an email to our customers. Let me see if I can pull up the. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, so just to rephrase the question. So the question is, can we explain in simple terms what happened with MakerDAO and why it's bad for DeFi? So this is being called Black Thursday. Okay, so this is from the MakerDAO forum. So somebody had the courtesy of putting everything into a nice summary. Now, without really reading all this verbatim, let me see what we can say here. Actually, maybe it makes sense to read this verbatim, actually. Right, so this person is called Soto. He says, during the ETH price crash, some vaults containing ETH as collateral to mint DAI became under collateralized, so under 150% collateral. Since the Oracle ETH price fed to MakerDAO came under those vaults' collateralization limit, they became available for liquidation. Liquidations are triggered by users calling the contract, which starts an auction for the ETH from the vault. The auctions are used to raise DAI to reimburse the liquidated vault's debt. In normal operation, the user, who are called keepers, compete for this auction, and the winning bid is paid in DAI in exchange for the ETH and vault. So anyway, let me just rephrase everything. So the way it works is, if anybody who hasn't used MakerDAO, you put up your collateral. So you say, okay, I'm Ian, I want to borrow money. So and you have to put up 1.5 times your collateral. I mean, the amount you're going to borrow. So if I want to borrow $1,000 in DAI, in the stablecoin, I have to put up $1,500 worth of Ethereum. They take Ethereum and BAT as collateral at the moment. So I put up $1,500 worth of Ethereum. You give me $1,000 worth of DAI. I can go do whatever I want with it. I can go do stablecoin lending. I can go trade on it. In a way, it's a form of margin trading. It's borrowing money. So anyway, your ETH is locked in a smart contract. And that smart contract has to maintain the 150% ratio of collateral. Anytime you fall below it, you have to come and put in more capital so that it goes back, right? So kind of like anybody who's done margin trading, right? You basically have a margin call. So when the Ethereum price dropped 40% in a day, a lot of people were margin called in a way. They had to go and put up collateral. If you don't put up the extra collateral in time, the smart contract, since it's automated through code, through software, automatically sells your Ethereum, a portion of your funds or Ethereum to cover and bring back the collateral percentage ratio. So a lot of people got liquidated because it sold everything. Now, my understanding is, by the way, I've not used any of this, right? So I do have DAI, but I haven't used MakerDAO and borrowing and all that. But my understanding is when they sell the collateral, they sell it via an auction. And this is because you have other actors, other investors, speculators who come and buy, or rather put up, they buy the Ether or collateral. And typically they buy it at a discount. That's why they're incentivized to come and buy it on Maker, because they can get it at a discount of about 3% or so, I believe, versus the market rate on other exchanges. So typically you have people that are bidding, right? Because it is an auction. They put in bids, and if the bid wins, they get that collateral. Well, during the whole crash, the oracle that Maker was using was chaotic. There was a price difference, I think more than $30 or so. So there are most people who bid on these auctions use software. So the software saw that there was a difference in the oracle. So for example, if the Ethereum price on one oracle was 150, but on the other it's 120, the software says, oh, hold up, let's not make any bids. Something is wrong here. We don't know what's going on. So one smart investor who wasn't using a machine or software or bot saw that difference. And he said, nobody's placing a bid. So this guy waited till the last second. This was a buzzer beater. This was a shot clock cheese type of move. So he waited till the last second and sent his transaction to take somebody's collateral for $0. I believe he only paid the transaction fee. Let me just pull this up here just to make sure I'm saying this right. Yeah, so it says here, as a consequence, some vaults were liquidated with zero DAI coming back in the system, resulting in a net loss for the system. Let me just go back here. So what happened today is that during the big drop in ETH price, a lot of vaults became available for liquidation at the same time as the Ethereum network became clogged with lots of transactions, leading to a sharp rise in gas price. Then he goes on to say, this led to a situation where only one keeper continued triggering liquidations and bidding $0 for the ETH with no competition. This lasted for about 2 or 3 hours. I mean, so this person literally got $4 million for nothing. I mean, wow. I mean, this is where DeFi can fail, right? So, I mean, imagine unfortunately, if you're at the opposite end of that. If you got liquidated and somebody took your money for nothing, I mean, you will feel bad. So then Maker obviously had to deal with this situation. So they had an emergency call. And it says the summary of the call goes on to say, because they were thinking about doing an emergency shutdown, which I don't think ended up happening. Either way, I think it would have been a bad look if DeFi was shut down, because that's really centralized. So they really have to figure out a way to recompensate the people who lost money. Right, so this person says Maker buyers should consider buying Maker on open market to support the underlying Maker price, which was down 44% down at that time. Let's see here. Okay, anyway, it seems they have some kind of vote on this. But either way, I mean, going back to the question, I mean, that was a really bad look for DeFi. So I think Maker, I have to go back and see what happened after the call, but my understanding is Maker is going to find a way to try to make it right, because I believe they can issue more Maker and really sell it at the market and then use that as a way to kind of fund the Maker system, because Maker had lost $4 million, or I think $500,000 in worth of collateral Let me just go back here just to make sure it's right. Right, so yeah, it says the MakerDAO had a 500K surplus before the price drop and now has a negative $4 million surplus that needs to be filled. The protocol covers this issue, the solution being to trigger a maker mint an auction. The DAI raised being used to fill the surplus debt. Okay, yeah, so they're going to have an auction to sell all this. But anyway, I mean, I'm obviously not a MakerDAO expert, but definitely check out the forum and probably the Maker's site or Twitter for more information. But either way, it's not a good look for DeFi because stuff like that can happen. Because people have to trust the software and the code because there's so many risks involved in crypto, right? This is why you always have to factor. One thing I learned from taking my Series 65 investment advisor exam is everything has a risk. There is no free lunch. So even putting money in DAI, which we think is good technology and good, one of the better projects in DeFi, you have the risk of smart contract getting hacked or the smart contract having a glitch like the flash loan or this, or something else happening. I mean, there's always risks that you can't plan for. Like even coronavirus was a risk, right? A pandemic was a risk that almost no investor factored into their investment analysis. So, but what you can factor in is that there will always be a risk in every investment you do. That's why you can't go all into any investment, even if it's the best thing ever. I mean, that's why, unfortunately, lots of people in crypto lose money because they treat it like gambling. I mean, like whether it's Sparkster or ICOs or trading or anything, like I know people who borrow money to make an investment. And one of the things I got from the book by Howard Marks, I think it was the most important thing, either that or Mastering the Market Cycle. But there's this story. It goes like this. This guy, he basically makes a bet on a horse race. A horse race with just one horse. So he thinks to himself, oh man, like this is as sure as it gets. I mean, there's no way I can lose. There's only one horse. All the other horses had to forfeit or quit or whatever. They couldn't make it. There's only one race. So he goes and bets the farm. He goes and borrows money, sells his house and everything. He's like, there's no way I can lose. He bets the house on this horse winning because it's racing against nobody. So the race begins. The horse starts racing. Halfway through, the horse jumps over the track and runs away and ends up quitting the race because obviously he can't finish the race. And the guy is wrecked, like capitulation at its best. And something that he thought was a sure thing, there was a risk he hadn't factored in, that the horse could not finish the race, could quit. I mean, so it doesn't matter how sure of an investment something looks, there is always a risk. So I think that's a story people can really take home, even outside of crypto. Everything you do, there is always a risk you have to factor in, right? And same thing with DeFi. DeFi might be great, but there's so many risks, right? You have the smart contract being hacked, glitches, you have compliance risk, them getting shut down by kind of like how Etherdault did, how DEXs had to be shut down and at KYC, ADEX had to have KYC, because most of these DeFi projects are not fully decentralized. They have central entities who still build these projects and work on them. These central entities are still vulnerable. So until that happens, I mean, well, even if that happens, everything still has a risk. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, do you think this is good or bad for DeFi? Okay, Samir says, let me switch to the comments here. Samir says, people should take insurance if investing in DeFi projects. For example, Nexus Mutual Insurance. Yes, yeah. I think definitely having insurance is good. Okay, let's see here. Ian, how's RSR? I haven't looked at that in a while, but maybe we can check into that. Thoughts on Telcoin, target for the long term and short term? Not so bullish on Telcoin. That is in the... Okay, so we had RSR. RSR is not so good at this point in time. Then Telcoin, also not so good. And this right now, the TA is bearish on it. So both of those projects are, at least based on our research, we don't think it's really a good time to be in. Is that a picture of you? Yes, that is a picture from one of our supporters. It's a crypto company called Cheetah in Lagos, Nigeria. This was a gift from them during our Crypto World Tour in Nigeria. So, and I also know it's a meme as well. So the meme and the gift from the community, crypto family. So definitely appreciate that. Then that other one is the Moon Lambo cartoon. All right, back to the comments here. Hold up. Will I access that list you showed up at the top? Yes, so if you join Token Metrics, okay, the basic plan only gives you the top 20. Okay, basic plan. So right now, what you're viewing is is a professional plan. Right? Obviously, once a week, you guys can maybe view this if you watch the live stream. But customers on the professional plan have this in real time every single day. Right? So, like, if you were in the, let's sort this by market cap. Okay, maybe that's not what I want. Yeah, so if you were in the basic plan, you would only get the top 20 in market cap. So this and up is what you would get. So you would miss out on a lot, unfortunately. But it's still helpful if you're, it's kind of more for somebody who's starting out, who has less risk, a lower risk tolerance level, right? So the good projects in basic you would probably get are probably Binance, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. And I mean, that might be it pretty much. I mean, the others, right? So the most popular plan, if we go to subscription, is the investor plan. So it's $50 a month if you subscribe for 1 year. So that ends up being $600 a year over the course of 12 months. And then we also have the professional plan, which is $200 a month or $2,400 a year. And then if you want to do the monthly, although over 80% of our customers, almost 90% of our customers get the annual plan, because it's a better deal if you're investing long term in crypto and crypto research. But yeah, let's go back to this. Okay, what's your take on Kyber Network? Do you think to invest in DeFi is still a good deal despite the maker case? Okay, we kind of already answered the maker case, but I'll talk about Kyber. So if we go back here to the ratings, okay, Kyber, we've not finished scoring. We have to go back and rescore that, I think. But we can look at it from a trading perspective. Okay, trading right now is neutral, so neither, yeah, it's not really buy or sell. Right now it's just kind of wait and see approach from a trading perspective. But I mean, Kyber has been one of the premier projects from a DeFi perspective. If we go to DeFi Pulse, I think Kyber was there. Okay, it seems to have dropped, but here it's 15th based on, yeah, based on a DeFi Pulse. Are these rankings? Yeah, based on number of assets locked up. Okay, I thought it was higher. So let's take a look at this. I mean, the assets were on the up and up. Then, like everything else, it tanked here. This is a pretty cool site for anybody who's into DeFi. I definitely recommend you check it out. Okay, so total value locked up 3.1. So before it was almost 5, it was 4.9. Yeah, almost 5 million here. But I mean, I think Kyber is definitely one of the better projects out there, but can't really give an official review or analysis until we've finished reading it. Right now, things have just kind of been hectic. We've been working on some other things, and then also all this coronavirus stuff as well. But the main thing we're working on, we're creating the 2 rating system. So we kind of had to almost have 2 different databases or 2 different ways to store all that data and analyze it and do the models on it. But Kyber is definitely on the watch list. So stay tuned on that. Cosmos or Tezos? Which one should I choose? Well, I think we kind of already answered that based on if you watched the earlier show. So Tezos long term is 33, while Cosmos Atom is 9th. So long term, we like at this date and time, we like it Cosmos better. So XTZ short term is 21. Cosmos is 19, so they're about the same. Cosmos is still ahead. Let me take a look. For Cosmos, TA is bullish, while Atom is neutral at this point in time. But overall, I mean, long term, we like Cosmos over Tezos. But I mean, things can change. But at this date and time, based on the analytics and data, we like Cosmos. Okay, top 3 coins or tokens you think Coinbase will list next. Okay, so going back to the ratings, so Coinbase has a long-term perspective, so I would go on a long-term perspective as well. So first one, I would add Blockstack. Blockstack is probably number 1 on the list. The only issue right now is they did do a Reg A Plus offering, so it's a security token. So Coinbase would really have to get all the regulatory, all the compliance and stuff for security tokens. So probably being an ATS and becoming an alternative trading system, which is something that I know they have been working towards having the requirements for or regulation for. Next one, I would say Matic Network. As we know, Coinbase was an investor. So, I mean, that I think is definitely going to happen. Dash, actually. Dash is not on Coinbase to my knowledge. Let me see if I can pull up the last list. Yeah, Coinbase exploring new coins is a search I'm looking for. Because last time I think they posted was August 2019. So yeah, so here we have August 5th, 2019. Algorand, Cosmos, Dash, Decred, Matic, Harmony, Ontology, Waves. Right, so these are the ones, so Cosmos and Dash. Yeah, so Matic, Dash, Blockstack is not on the list, so Blockstack we're probably going to have to, let me just see which ones they do have. Just give me 1 second here. So let's take a look at what coins they have. Okay, they're making me having, okay, I have to do this verification thing. Okay, so let's see here. Tradable assets on Coinbase. Okay, they have Tezos, Chainlink. Okay, Dash is tradable. Oh, I think because I'm on a VPN, so okay, Dash, they do already have Dash. Okay, so Dash they do already have. I would say Matic Network is definitely one of them. You see they have Kyber. Zcash. Yep, they got Zcash. Eternity, Cosmos, and Cardano. Cosmos they have. Eternity they don't have. Cardano they do not have. Do they have it here on the list of projects they're exploring? Okay, no. So Decred was pretty. They haven't yet added Decred. And now let's see if they added anything else after that. Okay, yeah, they don't really have it. Yeah, we have Cosmos, Kyber. Okay, so I mean, long story short, I think Cardano ADA is definitely one, because they did mention that they were exploring adding that. Decred, I think, as well. Harmony, Ontology, and Waves. I think Harmony and Waves, probably Waves, would also probably depend on the volume, the liquidity. But based on the ratings here, going through that list, I mean, I'm surprised Cardano hasn't been listed yet on Coinbase. Waves, so Waves is here. So I think Waves is definitely one they also would be looking at listing. But what do you guys think Coinbase is going to list first? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, James is saying they do have Dash. Are there any great projects out in Israel I would recommend? I mean, at this point in time, nothing comes to mind. I mean, there have been projects in Israel, like Bancor, and what's the other one? I know Crimea, one of the team members, was in Israel, but they're mainly in Sweden. There have been some other ones that didn't do so well. Was it CoinDash? A while back, in like 2017. Gaming coin like Engine and Mana? Possibly. Teach one says, is it possible to come up with a truly decentralized system? Well, I mean, Bitcoin is the closest we've gotten to that. So, but I mean, even Bitcoin, I mean, people say it's not really decentralized. People say the miners are centralized. And some people say, I mean, the fiat on-ramps are centralized. I mean, so there isn't really like a fully decentralized system. And unless you're getting Bitcoin OTC, you have to go through some kind of intermediary that, right? Either that or you're mining, but mining is centralized and most people aren't really mining Bitcoin nowadays. Okay, all right, back to the AMA. What do you think of Loki and Grin? Well, I mean, I think we've already looked at that a while, and we don't have that in the system, so can't really answer much on that. Okay, we've been going on for almost over 2.5 hours, so we might have to call this a wrap. Have you heard of VIT token? No, I've not heard of it, unfortunately. I've heard of VIT, which was doing a video type thing, but not VIT with a T. What do you think of Kyber? Kyber already kind of commented on that. Wazir? I mean, India, with what they did with making crypto trading legal again, I think was good. So Wazir definitely has some opportunity. They do have investment from Binance. And whether or not it's going to take off as an exchange, that remains to be seen. We haven't yet added that in the system yet, so stay tuned. Okay, let's make this the last question, then we'll call it a night. Before I answer this question, though, one question I do have is, what do you guys think about creating a forum an online forum where our entire community can go through and participate and ask questions and share research and anything like that, an online discussion forum. Because one of the issues I have with Telegram is all the great posts in there get lost. There isn't really a way to categorize and index them, especially for people who are even searching for different things. So let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Do you think we should create a token metrics forum? Probably using discourse software. So kind of like this, like if we go here, like MakerDAO has a forum, right? And people are able to create posts like this that they can then share with the community. You can't really do stuff like this in Telegram because it gets lost with other chats and distractions, right? Like if we go to the, like kind of like this. So do you guys think this is a good idea, or do you think it's a crazy idea? Ethereum also has a chat as well. Let me find the Ethereum forum. Yeah, so Ethereum, so kind of like Bitcoin Talk, but for token metrics. So this is the Ethereum community forum. All right, so it's nice and tidy and organized. If you want to go to mining, pooling, or pool discussions, ICOs, education. So what do you guys think about the idea? Should we create a token metrics forum for crypto investors? I mean, I think it's a good idea, but I only want to do it if the community thinks it's a good idea. So let me know in the comments below. Antonio says that would be a great idea. Create a forum. Okay. Antonio says, I don't like the new price prediction, user experience, user interface. Okay, I mean, some people did tell us so it's funny. Some people said they didn't like the old way, but like this way, and some people don't like the other. So I'll speak with my developer and probably bring back both options. So we'll have both the charts and those sliders. So we have both to appease both people. Okay. Zabiso says, yes, a forum would be great. James says, I think it's a great idea. Great idea. Okay, people seem to like the forum, so I'll work on that. So probably by the end of the month, maybe we can put it together and have everybody partake in there and share different strategies and opinions, not investment advice, when it comes to crypto and investing. Yes, Token Metrics Forum, great idea. Please review engine and mana and token metrics. So one of the things with the forum is we could even take questions from the AMA ahead of time via the forum. So he's saying, let's merge the two. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for the feedback. I'll definitely work on that. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. Let us go to the last question of the day. Okay, so the last audience question is, if a recession is coming, shouldn't everyone sell altcoins? Yes, very good question. Now, whether or not you should sell altcoins. I would say if you're in horrible altcoins that are worthless, basically if you're in shitcoins, you should sell. You should get out. Get out, don't look back. But if you're in altcoins that will be around 3 years from now, probably not a good time to sell. I mean, depends. Only sell if you have to. But if we're going into a recession, so I covered this earlier. Let me see if I can pull up the image. So this is what's going to happen in a recession. So initially, we were in prosperity. This was a bull market. Not for crypto altcoins, but I would say for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had better performance than some altcoins. We did have a mini alt season beginning of this year, but looking more at stocks and equities, because that's where the real recession happens. So we had the longest stock bull run ever. Yeah, I think ever. The typical bull run is about 6 years. This bull run we've been in has lasted 12 years, since 2008 recession. No recession till then. So we had expansion, then we hit the peak. What does the peak look like? peak are good times. Peak is when everybody's making money. I mean, all you have to do is just look at the stock market towards the end of 2019 and then kind of entering 2020. Everybody was talking about how Tesla, I mean, you always have a poster child for a bull run peak. I think Tesla was that poster child. If you go back to crypto, in the December 2017 bull run or peak, we had a poster child. We had Ethereum doing 100x. We had Icon. Icon was my poster child. I mean, you had that one investment that just defies all logic and gravity and just goes to the moon. So in equities, I think Tesla was that, surpassing all the other American car companies, GM, Ford. I mean, Tesla, an electric vehicle, an electric car company, being worth more than all these other companies. So then we're now going towards recession. So earlier, people talked about the yield curve inverting, and that usually signals that a recession is coming. And that's something everybody was really talking about, and we all thought it was going to happen. But now, based on a black swan happening, so going back to that story of risk, so earlier I talked about that horse that jumped off the track. The guy, so for those who didn't hear that, this guy made a bet that he thought was a sure thing in a horse race. It was a horse race with just one horse. So he thought there was no way this one horse could not lose because it was running against itself. Everybody else had dropped out. So he thought it was a sure thing. And he bet the farm, sold everything to bet on his horse. But the horse ended up hopping off the rail and running away. And he lost his money on something he thought was a sure thing. Well, I mean, we're now getting into a recession. And so that story is really about risk. Even when something is a sure thing, you have to always factor in risk. And we were in a bull market, and the risk nobody saw. I mean, we all knew the risk of inflation and the Fed printing money and quantitative easing, but nobody thought that the pin that would pop the balloon, the pin that would pop the bubble, would be a pandemic, a global pandemic. But it looks like that's what really popped the pin. So pulling up here, JP Morgan, this is a story from Business Insider, Market Insider from Business Insider. So JP Morgan officially forecasts a coronavirus-driven recession will rock the US and Europe by July. Now, so JP Morgan estimates a recession by July. I think that makes sense. I mean, all these lockdowns are affecting the economy, especially the travel industry and supply chains. So looking at this, so SAS, Scandinavian Airlines, for the time being has laid off over 90% of its workforce. That's 9 out of 10 employees. That affects 10,000 jobs. Then also, that's not it. Norwegian Airlines suspends over 4,000 flights, lays off half its staff. I mean, then earlier in the month, Apple, Nike, all these companies that rely on the supply chain also forecasted that this would impact their earnings. So I think in the next 1 to 2 quarters, which does make sense. So let's say end of Q1, which is this month, and then Q2, end of Q2, which is basically end of June. That's when companies will start reporting these earnings, and all these companies are going to be affected, especially the airline companies, the hotel companies, anything to do with travel industry, supply chain like Apple, Nike, all these companies will be affected. And when these earnings come, when these companies report that they missed earnings, what happens after every missed earning? Sell off. So stocks are basically going to go lower. I mean, that's why the Fed cut interest rates today, right? To almost 0%. And they're pumping money. They're basically trying to put the economy is on life support. So they're pushing money. Like the Feds are kind of like doctors trying to just wake up the patient. But the patient is on the verge of dying, and the patient is the economy. So going back to the question, right? How does this tie to crypto? Well, if the economy is going through a recession and the average recession lasts 12 to 13 months, so we're looking at a time frame of really from July 2020 until, let's say, Q3 2021. So from that time frame, people are going to go through tough times. People are going to be questioning everything. Going back to this image. So recession is around here. So we're now on the decline thanks to coronavirus. I mean, obviously we were coming down here anyway, but coronavirus kind of greased things up and made everything happen faster. So imagine a recession from here all the way until the trough. So until Q3 2021. So we aren't really going to start entering a recovery until Q3 2021. What does that look like? That means a time frame like anywhere from September, I would say August, September or so. So things are going to get worse before they get better. And when things are getting worse, people are selling everything. Doesn't matter how good they think it is, they're selling everything because they're trying to get out of risk. They want liquidity. When they have to pay their mortgage, they sell everything. They don't care how well this altcoin is doing or this stock is doing. They got to pay their bills. And if we get hit with inflation, things are going to get even worse, which could happen because with quantitative easing and all this money being printed out, bread gets a lot more expensive. Milk, water, because everybody's now, because more money is being put into the economy, supply and demand, things get a lot more expensive. So people will feel the hurt both ways, with the markets crashing and inflation. So Bill calls this stagflation is a term, I believe. So when this happens, things that were very, very risky will get hurt the most. So not just cryptocurrencies. I mean, unfortunately, we're all bullish on crypto, but diving deeper into crypto, altcoins. If you're in an altcoin that's very, very illiquid, I would say altcoins outside the top 10 in market cap are the most at risk. So any altcoin in that vicinity, anything over 10th in market cap is at risk. So the question is, whatever altcoin you have, anticipate it's going to get pummeled to death. I mean, to the verge of questioning whether or not it's going to survive. But the question, as we talked about earlier, is it an altcoin you think will bounce back? Is it an altcoin that's going to go through the tunnel of light and then wake up and not go to heaven or hell? Is that altcoin going to have a second life, right? Or is that, or even a non-Christian reference, is that altcoin going to have a second life? Is it going to be reincarnated as a top 10 coin? So I think to figure out whether or not you have an altcoin that's worth selling or keeping, you have to ask yourself this question. 3 years from now, is this an altcoin worth holding? And in times like this, the ultimate edge is doing your research. Because if you do your research, you can buy even more, buy the dip, buy these fire sales, these discounts when everybody else is selling. Because the best investors, like the Warren Buffetts of the world, they buy when everyone else is selling. That's why they make their money. But if you're going to be buying when everyone else is selling, you want to buy something that you know is going to be around for 3 years from now. And it's not just something people are selling for a good reason. And to do that, you have to do your research. And to do your research, you have to have an edge. And this is, in times like this is why having platforms like Token Metrics are crucial. I mean, actually, our sales were up during the crash because people realized that, hey, they need tools like this. So pulling up Token Metrics here, right? So if we ask ourselves, okay, based on our research, what are coins right now, as of today, that are worth holding in the next 3 years, for 3 years or more? This is not some quick flips, some quick get rich scheme, but what coins do we think will still be around 3 years from now? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Blockstack, Matic Network, Dash, Binance, Zcash, Eternity, Cosmos, Cardano. Now this changes give or take, but and obviously some of the coins are good and they go back and forth between the top 10 and top 20. But I would say if you're in a altcoin that's in the, let's say, bottom, let's say below 70, right? Anything below 70, I mean, I would sell. I would not even touch or look at, right? I mean, because you're just asking, this has the most risk, right? And I would say any altcoin in the top, yeah, maybe let's say top 30 or so. Yeah, maybe we can say top 30. I think obviously this fluctuates, but if you have something in the top 10, in my opinion, I think those are altcoins that if everything's hitting the fan, those are ones you probably want to consider maybe even getting more of. Obviously not all at once, maybe dollar cost average. So going back to this chart, which I think is really a great chart for getting the point across of a cycle. So as we're going down here, people are selling. So imagine this is the price of a stock or even crypto, right? Let's say your altcoin, right? Let's say it's peaked. Now when we're going into a recession, it's going to be going down. You want to buy down here, but nobody is perfect. Nobody can time the bottom because fundamentally, or rather technically, the moment the bottom is in, it's too late. It's not recovering. So rather than trying to time it, you want to understand which part of the cycle we're in and then have buying points or a better dollar cost average, maybe dollar cost average during the recession, right? So as this is going down, you buy maybe every month or let's say the price is $1. Let's say every time it goes, and once it goes here, it's 50 cents. Maybe every 10 cents you're buying the dip, anticipating that eventually it's going to bottom and bounce back. And when it bounces back, you'll sell somewhere around here and during prosperity. So if anything, altcoins in the top 10 in our ratings, we think are the type of altcoins that will bounce back and be around still in 3 years. Now, obviously, we could be wrong. This is just our research, right? And we're not perfect. But we think having research like this gives you an edge. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be better than the market and the average investor. And we think having research like that allows you to really understand where you are in the cycle, and most importantly, know what assets to hold and which ones to sell. So if you're with something that, like here, let me just even add a filter. So if we say only show projects with fundamentals over 70 and technology over 70, okay, here we go. This gives us an even better, yeah, pretty much the same list. So I would say maybe just these projects, like these, obviously the lower you go, the more at risk you are, right? But looking at this, I think these are projects probably worth holding. And the ones up here, especially the ones that are really undervalued, like looking at this Blockstack, market cap 105. In 3 years, we think this could be top 10. That's why we have it here 3 in market cap. And Matic, right? Eternity we think is undervalued. Cosmos. So all these projects here really have potential. But more importantly, I think those in the top 10 are the ones that are really worth buying at during fire sales. So, I mean, going back to your question, if we're in a recession, shouldn't everyone be selling alts? I mean, that's what people did. But the smart investors who were waiting for moments like this, they live for moments like this. They were buying the dip. And this was maybe just the first dip. Maybe there are a lot more dips to come, right? So going back to this chart, this could have just been the first dip. I mean, who knows? Maybe crypto and Bitcoin, maybe Bitcoin goes below $1,000, which, I mean, God forbid, will be horrible. But I mean, but if you've been waiting for days like this to buy Bitcoin below 1K, maybe that's the time, because maybe it bounces back and boom, right? Maybe once inflation kicks in and people will see, wow, the dollar is worthless, and it's a global crisis even more than it is now. Maybe that's when Bitcoin bounces back, or maybe Ethereum flips Bitcoin, or maybe DAI becomes the new, or maybe Facebook Libra, who knows? But either way, this is when you want to have capital ready to buy, because you don't want to buy here. Because yes, it may feel good buying when there's green, but as an investor, you want to buy when there's blood in the streets, because that's when you, like, imagine people who bought real estate during the real estate crash. Oh, they made a killing. They made a killing. I mean, the ones who bought during the bubble lost a bunch of money. The ones who bought when people had lost money and were selling, buying on foreclosures, buying half off or even more, 10 years later, they made money. Then they sold, probably a few years back at a peak. And now they have cash on the sidelines waiting to buy the dip again. So when it comes to altcoins, I think same strategy across all markets in investing, right? Buy low, sell high. When people say buy low, they mean buy when there's blood in the streets, not sell. I mean, the only thing you sell are things that were risky. But if something was very risky, you probably should not have been in it in the first place. And I think now that we're going into a global recession, you have to be even more cautious of what you're investing in. I mean, you still want to be greedy, right? Because be fearful when others are, I mean, be greedy when others are fearful. So in times like this, you want to be greedy, but don't throw risk out the window, right? You have to assess risk with the value, right? Value investing, what you're investing in. But anyway, that's been a long tirade. Or anyway, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys selling all your altcoins, or are you buying anything? Do you plan to buy the dip during this recession, which could be over 1 year long? What's your strategy? Most importantly, how do you play defense? Because rule number 1 of investing, don't lose money. And rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1, don't lose money. So with that being, what does that mean? That means the best way not to lose money is to buy something so low below discount that it's almost tough not to lose money. And that means that you buy it at a discount when somebody is forced to sell, when it's blood in the streets. But most importantly, you also believe it's something that's going to bounce back long term, 3 years from now. Because it doesn't matter if something is at a discount, if it will never bounce back. So if you're buying something that's a shitcoin, it's never going to bounce back. And 90% of coins don't bounce back. So you have to find the coins that are going to bounce back. And that's why our team is here to help you guys and support you with our Token Metrics platform, also our emails, and we'll be launching an online forum now based on the feedback we have here as well. So we're all in this together, crypto family, and man, I mean, let's hang in there. Let's hang in there, right? No longer question. Because we're all believers in crypto, but not all believers make it, right? So not all believers get salvation. So if you're holding a bag that has a bunch of bad altcoins, you may not see salvation even if you're a crypto believer. So you have to make sure your bag is holy. Your bag is pure. Your bag has to be pure of sin, pure of shitcoins. So is your bag pure? Well, Token Metrics is here to help you purify your bags. Until next time, thank you everybody. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next week. Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care.
We just landed on
The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond. Stay safe, everybody. Self-quarantine, social distancing, Yes, this is kind of like the flu, but has a 10x kill rate compared to the flu. So stay safe out there, especially to our older crowd. Until next time, bye.